Hello everyone, let's work on our firing because right now he's got the world's best silencer. And we don't want that, we want our guns to make a little bit of noise. So in the BP base weapon, in our weapon info, you'll remember we added a fire sound effect. We're going to go to that weapon info struct. Actually, let's just add it in here. The shotgun is going to have a secondary fire sound effect for its little, recocking thing. So it will be a sound cue. Then in our shotgun, we can set that. So in our shotgun, we can go fire sound and set up fire. And then shotgun. It'll be the reload sound effect. And we'll open our rifle. Fire sound is rifle. Rifle B fire Q. Pistol. Same deal. Pistol fire. And then you'll see I have a grenade launcher right here. This is my second time recording this one because I had a little bit of a flub up. But if you just right click, create child blueprint, name it grenade launcher, open it up, it'll look more like this. And then for the skeletal mesh, just using grenade launcher B. And then its fire sound is grenade launcher fire. Now if you also remember, we set up a pushback variable. So we can establish what we want it to be in the base weapon as a guide if we want. For the grenade launcher, I've set it to be 25,000. For the pistol, just 500 will work. 400 for that, yeah. Shotgun, now I'm gonna set that to like 15,000. So this will be, once the enemy is dead, they're going to ragdoll, and this will let us kind of launch the body a little bit, just for funsies, because it is fun. So in our player blueprint, in the fire trace, this is where we are going to play sound 2D. You want the play sound and not the spawn sound, because we're just going to play it. The character will always hear it, so we don't have to worry about spatialization. As far as enemies hearing us, we're going to do a pawn noise emitter later on. So for now, this will work great. And then for the weapon ref, we get fire sound. Oh, what was it? Fire sound? What did we call it? Fire sound. Yeah, fire sound. Why is it not? Maybe because I added a space. Fire. Oh, maybe because I'm not getting the weapon info. Like a big old doofus. And then I can fire sound right there. For mine, I'm going to bump this volume multiplier down. I'm going to put it at 0.1 just because, I don't want it to, some of y'all might be having headphones on and I don't want it to blow your ears out. But if we jump in, yeah, they're all making noises. Now, another thing we will need to do is I'm going to move this anim montage thing out. So I'm going to just get rid of that in here. But I am going to copy this right here before I delete that portion. Because we're going to put this out in the actual event graph because we're going to need access to some more functionality. So we'll grab all this and the fire trace and that and move it down the line. Then we're going to play montage, and I completely spaced for a second. I remember you want the one that has this little, basically looks like a sheet of paper almost. It's got all these on the side. So we're going to hook this directly to the fire trace and do all the rest of our stuff. This is the one that fires. It fires this and then immediately plays this, not on these. Then for the skeletal mesh, we'll grab our player's mesh. And the montage to play is where we will paste in our weapon info right there. Now we will need to grab a weapon reference and plug that in. The reason we're doing it this way is because I need this notify begin, because the shotgun has a secondary sound. So on this notify name, we'll do a switch on name, and on notify begin, I'm just going to add a pin and call it secondary. So this is how you can add events inside of your montages that you're using. Let's get rid of that default pin. We don't need it. And the way you can add notifies is, let's go to our shotgun and to our hip fire animation first. So right here you can see I could scrub along the timeline to find right as he's making that kind of, you know, so right about here is when he's about to do it. I can right click under this notifies tab on the line that says 1, right click add notify, montage notify. You can even give these different names. So this is my secondary sound effect 1, so I just call it secondary. And I'm going to right click and copy that, asset browser, shotgun iron fire, and then try to find, oh, right about there. And then I'm just going to paste it because it'll give it the same name and everything. Then in our player blueprint on that secondary, well, from our weapon reference, get our secondary fire sound effects and play sound 2D. Since our shotgun's the only one that has that anim notify, it'll be the only one that plays it. Again, setting that volume way down for y'all. So let's jump in, see how it looks. Yeah, that's working pretty good. I like it. So we'll save everything real quick. Alright, so we also want to, once we do our fire trace, we want to apply an impact force if the hit object is simulating physics. So, well, to demonstrate this, let's go ahead and go into our characters folder. Let's set up a test enemy. So we'll go under blueprint class, character, BP underscore test enemy. We'll come back and make a new one later on. This is just for testing purposes. For the mesh, just going to give it, why not? Little, what, masochism. And for his event graph, we'll just take all this away. And event any damage. We don't want to do health and all that just yet. We're just going to say set simulate physics. And let's drop in a couple real quick. Just shoot him in the face real quick just to test to make sure that's working okay. Probably helps. Let's go into our test enemy. And under the mesh, we need to set it to actually register visibility traces. So down under collision presets, drop that down, and we'll set it to custom, because I don't want it to block the camera, so I want it to ignore the camera. But I want it to block our visibility. I don't like for enemies to block the camera personally. I mean, it makes sense if you want to get those kind of jump scares sometimes, but it's too jarring for me personally, so I just disable it, but to each their own. Is that not hitting him? Is that not? Oh, goodness. So this looks like he's starting to simulate physics, but that's right, under his collision presets, query only, no physics collision. So we need to set that to collision enabled, query and physics. And that should make it to where he doesn't fall through the floor. Yeah. But, you know, since we're shooting him with the, what is this? What is this pose? Fascinating. Can I shoot you? Ah, he's already simulating physics. We want to add a kickback. So once he's simulating physics, we want to actually harm him, or make him go flying, essentially. So we'll move our fire trace over to the left, because we're going to add a sequence here For then 1, gonna hook it to here. But we need some variables from inside of our fire trace. So at the very end, we're gonna add a return node. And once we've successfully done all of this and applied damage, we need to see if we need to get our hit component, and we'll drag it onto that and we can get that. We are going to need our trace start and our hit location. So this will tell us the hit component is the mesh that we actually collided with, so the character's body. The trace start and the location will help us calculate the direction that we need to apply the force. George Lucas, don't sue me. It's a different force. So we want to do, after we've applied damage through our fire trace, we want to do a short delay until next tick. Because we want to give it a chance to actually simulate physics and fire through. Once it has, removing health and checking all that, it might take it a second. Shouldn't take longer than a tick. So after that, we'll do a branch, B left click, and then from our hit component, we're going to see if it is simulating physics. Don't gotta worry about a bone name, we'll just throw that right there. I am gonna grab all of this and move it though. Give us more room to work with. So I'll move this up just like that. Now, if it is simulating physics, let's do a reroute right here. Then we will add impulse. So, is simulating physics true? Then the impulse we want to add, we want to basically calculate the direction from our trace start to the actual impact point and multiply it by our force in order to tell it which direction to go flying. So we are going to get unit direction. Drag this way up. I know it's kind of ugly. We'll refine that in a little bit. Make it prettier. Well, may as well go ahead and just kind of pull this down a little bit and pull this along. It's very important, stay organized. It's easy to put it off till a later point, but then you come back and you're like, oh, what is this crap? So we'll just go ahead and do that. We will need our weapon reference. And from that, we'll need our weapon info. Then we'll need to break that open and get our pushback. So we're going to multiply our direction. Multiply that. Right click on this bottom node and convert it to a float single precision, and then hook our pushback right there. Then we can, with this selected, just go over here, hide unconnected pins, and it just leaves that pushback for us. So we can plug this into our impulse, click velocity change so that it is immediate, and we'll go take a look. So the shotgun should send him flying pretty good. Oh god. Okay, yeah, he's flying. And no matter which direction I shoot him from, even if he's on the ground, goodness, you can almost make like a hockey game with this. 15,000 might be a bit much. It's still fun though. Or I'm a masochist. That's the proper usage of that word. I think I did it wrong. Alright, so now we got our force pushback. Let's do a little bit different. Let's not 15,000. Let's try 5,000. Still a good kick, but, yeah. Better. But, with him down on the ground, you can still shoot the body, but you will notice if you run around about where he was standing. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So his capsule collision is still going. But you know what? That doesn't really matter. We'll adjust that when we get to our actual enemy. But let me just go ahead and show you how to do it, because why not? Capsule component set collision response to channel. And then we'll just make it ignore our character's pawn. Now you could do it again for the camera, but I'm just going to go ahead and go to the capsule and custom and ignore the camera. So now we shouldn't have that issue to begin with. Let's shoot him in the face and test it. So I ran right through where he was standing, nothing. And you also, vaya con Dios, spam. And then no matter which direction you shoot him, he'll go flying. Now for the grenade launcher, we're going to do it a little bit differently because it's going to spawn a projectile and throw it through the air. I don't know, shoot it through the air. And then we'll do that. But just as a recap, from the fire trace, you will need the hit component, not the hit actor. Because the component is the mesh, the actor cannot simulate physics itself. Even if you try, simulate, no. The hit component, however, simulate physics. And then you'll need the start point and the end point to be able to calculate your direction. Multiplied by the force gives you fun. Alright, I'm going to try to make this one a short one. So in the next one, we'll set up the grenade launcher to boom kapow. See y'all then. Bye.